Hello, friends. I hope you're doing very well. This live is going to be about the number one thing I see guardians doing that holds back their dog training, holds back their dog from seeing results, and it really holds them back from getting very far in their recovery journey whatsoever. As always, I am shuffling between two different computers here. So if you see me jump up and down, that's what's going on. But let's get into it. So this is something that I have seen an influx in recent history, just with my clients, where I see them sort of being a little bit held back by this thing, and it's overall kind of slowing down their recovery with their dog. And that is that they are over analyzing the technique. I see clients and I see dog guardians constantly worrying about using proper technique and the nitty gritty details before they're even worried about the basic method. So let me give you some examples of what I mean. Things like worrying about, is the leash loose or is the leash tight? Worrying about, are my shoulders relaxed and calmed? Worried about, is my treat in my treat pouch? Worried about, was the time of my marker correct or was I off? Did I even use a marker word at all? Right? These are things that I see them worrying so much about, but they're not focused enough on the actual fundamental game activity, whatever that they're actually doing. So for example, if you're playing engage, disengage with your dog, then your primary concern should be, am I worried about when my dog identifies the trigger? If you are focusing on a pattern game, the number one thing you should be worried about is, am I setting a pattern right now for my dog to rely on? That's all that you really need to worry about. All of the nitty gritty details of it are things that are going to actually slow you down. And one of the things that I hear from clients all the time is that they're trying to shuffle so many different things in their head. They're trying to shuffle, having their shoulders back, trying to use their peripherals when they're training instead of looking right at the dog, trying to be perfect with their timing, trying to make sure that their leash is always as loose as it possibly can be. They're trying to shuffle all of these things in their minds when they haven't even mastered the basic principle of whatever game they're trying to accomplish. The truth of the matter is that if you're using a method, a training game that is so reliant on, oh my gosh, is my hand in my treat pouch, and is so reliant on, oh my gosh, do I have a perfect length between my hand and my dog's collar? If you're using a method that is so reliant on that thing that you can afford to be so nitpicky about that, then you probably should be changing your method, because you can get so many results. You can get so far in your dog's recovery journey without worrying about these little details. Here's instead what I want you guys to be thinking. I want you to be thinking, worrying about these details, like, was my timing perfect? Did I have my treat, my hand in a relaxed position instead of in the treat bag? Worrying about, am I using my peripherals when I'm training instead of putting all of my attention right on my dog and making it very like stare? All of these little behavior elements on your end are privileges. You are privileged enough to get so far in your recovery journey that you can worry about those things. And that's one of the things that I want you to kind of reframe your mindset around. Is it's not that you have to have all of that technique perfect before you get to go out and start recovering your dog's reactivity, or recovering your dog's separation anxiety, or recovering your dog's anxiety in general. It's not that all of that technique needs to be flawless and you need to be the world's cleanest dog trainer on the world, in the planet, in order to get results. It's actually quite the opposite. You can get pretty dang far not worrying about any of that. And then once you have the fundamentals mastered, then you are privileged enough, you are fortunate enough to be able to then rechannel your energy into these nitpicky things. But I think that when we are working with dog trainers that are trying to that are capturing every little moment that we're doing wrong, we think that that's normal. We think that we should also be capturing every little moment that we're doing wrong and worrying about that. And that pressure to be such a clean, pristine, perfect dog trainer for your dog is holding you back from actually training because it's overwhelming you, because it's getting you to the point where you feel like you have no choice but to give up because you're not doing it flawlessly, so therefore you're not doing it at all. That is not the mindset we need to be having in this journey. So here's what I recommend instead. Okay. I think first, there's three things here. I think first, when we have clients tell us like, oh, I was being nitpicky enough, I think a lot of it has to do with fear. I think the root of that is that the clients are fearful that they are going to screw up their dog if their technique isn't perfect. Like if my timing isn't right, then my dog's training isn't going to be productive. And that means that my dog isn't going to learn. And therefore my mistake has directly impacted my dog. This is an understandable process. This is an understandable thinking. I get why you feel this way. And I have to say that I appreciate you feeling that way, because I appreciate that you want to be good. You want to be strong for your dog so that your dog can get results. But the truth of the matter is that your little mistakes, like having your treat in the pouch or having 2 tens on the leash, those little mistakes are things that you can worry about down the road without having made your dog suffer that much, right? Those are little things that you can polish over time that don't need to be perfect right out of the gate without having caused too many problems in your dog, okay? The second thing is that you want to have, you want to be okay with starting messy. I want you guys to accept that you're going to make mistakes in the same way that you accept that your dog is going to make mistakes. You're not expecting your dog to handle every single trigger and every single obstacle flawlessly right out of the get-go. So why are you expecting that of yourself? Start messy. Start messy. It's okay. Starting is the battle. Making it a routine is another battle. But once you can overcome those two, then you can be lucky enough to overcome the battles, like the nitty-gritty stuff that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But you need to channel all of your energy into understanding the fundamentals. So here's what I recommend. I recommend when you go out into a training session, you're only concentrating on perfecting 2 to 3 things in your specific behavior. So maybe that is that you're concentrating on making sure your shoulders are relaxed. Or maybe that is that you're concentrating on making sure that your hand is not in your treat pouch the entire time. But you're going to pick 2 to 3 things that are going to be what you focus on, and you're going to focus all of your energy on that until it becomes muscle memory and you're ready to tackle the next thing that you need to concentrate your energy on. But going right out of the get-go and saying, I need to remember these 10 things that I'm supposed to do while I'm training my dog, that is setting you up for failure. That is setting you up for burnout because you're overwhelming yourself. So pick 2 to 3 things that you're going to concentrate on and double down on those. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you hit the like button because that will help us. And tell me in the comments, what are the 2 to 3 things that you're going to focus on this week? And tell me some of the things that you're not going to focus on. Tell me the things that probably down the road you'll have to tackle and you'll overcome, but they're not worth your energy this week because instead you're focusing on these 2 to 3 things. All right, my friends, have a wonderful day and we'll chat soon.